Good afternoon, friends. It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. Hope you're doing well. Today is a huge mishmash of projects that need to get done. Mostly here at the house. I don't think I'll have enough time to get out to the farm today, but that'll be tomorrow. And I know what I need to do out there. So join me today while we sow some seeds, transplant some stuff, and just do some general chores. Thanks so much for joining me today, you guys. I have a whole bunch of seeds that I'm going to sow in the front garden and the veggie garden in places where either things didn't take or, just I want to fill in some holes. I also have plenty of tomatoes left to fill in some holes and some peppers as well. So we'll be doing that in the front garden. Let me show you the seeds that we're going to be direct sowing. Okay, so in no particular order, I've got some trailing nasturtiums here and some butterscotch nasturtium. I already have nasturtiums out in the garden, but I'm going to add some more. You just can never have enough of these guys. They're so great. Really wonderful trap crops. They're edible and they self-sow really well, and their seeds are huge, so they're super easy. All right, so we've got those. And then this guy is a watermelon radish. Even though it's we're going into summer, I'm actually going to sow this and see what happens. I have a shadier spot in the garden that stays cooler. I'm going to put those there. This is 65 days, and it says sow in summer for fall harvest. So I'm going to do a sowing now and then in late summer and see what happens. All right. Now it's kind of late for a few of these, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. So banana melon, I did put these in a 6-pack and they just didn't do well. So I'm going to direct sow these. I'm going to direct sow some black cat pumpkin. I just love the idea of these. And even though they'll take up a lot of space, I'm still going to put them out there. And some hearts of gold cantaloupe. So these are some of the melon and pumpkins. And then summer squash. I already have a bunch of summer squash, but I do really like these round zucchinis. And these are only 45 days. And so, I have plenty of time to pop some of these in there and see what happens. And okra, again, this is Clemson spineless. And this is a burgundy okra. Now, I already direct sowed some and it didn't come up. And I think it's because the seed, these seeds are big and their seed coat is thick. So I'm going to nick these seeds and then sow them and keep that area moist to see if they make sure I can germinate them. All right, now moving on to beans. So some of these I already have out there and I'm just adding more. Dragon's tongue, bush bean. I already have some of these out there. I'm going to put a few more in. This is gold rush bean. These are bush bean varieties. I'm going to put a few more of these in. This is Thai soldier beans. They're long beans. So I'm going to climb these up a trellis. And then I have pink eye purple hull bush cowpea. I've never grown these before, but I'm really excited about them. And then a heirloom dry beans soup mix blend. And so I really want to grow some beans for drying and using as soups, and I know just the place to put these. Okay, so let's go out back and I'll show you all the stuff that needs to get transplanted today. Firstly, this is more Black Knight Scabiosa that didn't go in at the farm. I'm going to put some of that in here, and I might fill some of those holes at the farm with that as well. This is ground cover for the back and some chamomile, and then there's more Tweedia. So lots more to spread the love. Here we are in the backyard. This is a tray full of potatoes. This is a tray full of peppers. These are going to go out front. Actually, a few of them are going to stay back here where they can get more heat, and we'll see if we have better production. This is a mixed tray. This is all comfrey that was started from cuttings, and I'm going to find places all over the garden for them as well as out at the farm. We've got 3 containers of eucalyptus. This stuff is so slow to grow. So I got to put those out at the farm, and it probably won't be ready this year. We've got a little bit more Rudbeckia Sahara here, and then there's these 3 tomatoes. I don't really know why they're in this tray, but they're going to find a home as well. And then look at all these tomatoes. And you can see like the lower leaves, they're fine, but the lower leaves are you know, turning yellow. These guys need to find a home. So I'm gonna pop a few more in the front garden, but then I'm gonna take a bunch out to the farm and put them on the sweet pea trellis. Now over here, we have trays that are starting to harden off. They're not quite ready for the farm next week for sure. This is celosia here, looking much better than the original tray that I did. And then we've got some baby's breath, and these are all different ornamental grasses. Then we have here zinnias, more zinnias, a second succession. We have some atriplex and mullein, but only one of those seedlings came up. And then we've got some more basil, which is good because I got plenty of holes to fill in for that. And then we've got some amaranths, which aren't looking that great, but they've been in these soil blocks for a long time. So, you know, we'll transplant some. Last year I did get them to grow finally, but they were short. And then these are additional flower seedlings that I thought were going to go to a customer, but are not. So that's fine. These can go in the ground somewhere here or at the farm. I do need to start a second pollinator patch out there, but I don't know if I'll have time to do that this year. And then these are sunflowers for a customer. It's the sunflower kit. So those are just out here starting to harden off. And that's pretty much it for what's in the greenhouse, which feels really good. Except for some saponaria. This is the beauty mix, and some more, this is not Cyanoglossom, it's actually chamomile. I just want a huge amount of chamomile this year. I'm going to put a bunch out at the farm, just spread it everywhere. And then this is Salpoglossus Q Blue, and that is stinging nettle. And I tell you what, accidentally brushed my finger up against it the other day when I was watering in here, and it was instant, you know, and like literally all day it was annoying. Why am I growing stinging nettle? Lots of people have been asking me this. Why on earth would you do that? So I haven't been able to find it growing wild here on my property. And it's an amazing, number one, medicinal herb. Number two, makes a really good fertilizer for the garden, just like comfrey. Those two make an amazing fertilizer when they're fermented. And so I would like to put those down in the creek bed so that they can kind of spread a little bit. They won't go crazy because it's shady down there, and it's not getting supplemental water. But I'll have a little patch to pick from. I just haven't gotten around to it. They're totally ready to go in the ground, but I'm dreading it. Even wearing gloves is not pleasant. Okay, so in the cottage garden, which is where we're going to start, I have even more things that I've already laid out. Firstly is these trays of very overgrown herbs and lettuces and some baby kale and stuff. They are here because I have a new green stock that I need to set up, and these are some of the many things that are going to go in there. So they're staying here. They've been deeply watered. They'll be fine for now. And then I've got another dahlia to put right there. There's one back there that I already transplanted. This one's going to go right here, and it'll just stay there for eternity. It'll be fine. In fact, in this container, this is a dahlia. So when I first got these containers, this is like 7 years ago, I planted a couple dahlias in here, and they grew and provided greenery but never flowered. I have never been able to find this tuber. It is so deep in this container, and if you've been around here for a while, you'll know that I excavate down to about here every year in the fall and plant all my tulips and stuff, and then fill it all up with soil. I've never been able to find it, but every year it comes back. So last year it actually flowered for me. But if it starts to impede too much on my tomatoes, I'm gonna just keep cutting it back. These are more seedlings that are gonna go in, well, this lettuce and stuff. Those will go in the new green stock. This is cathedral bells. Those will go in the cottage garden. And then these here are a butterfly pea. And I'm really excited about this. One is the blue one, and the other is lavender queen. And so I'm planning to put those seedlings in here inside this container so that they can grow up these trellises. I'll have one variety on each side. They'll be happy in there, and they'll grow, and we'll be able to harvest those flowers. All right, also peppered through the garden here, I've got more dahlias to put in, both tubers and seedlings. I've got Agastaki seedlings. I've got marigold seedlings. So just a whole, like I said, mishmash of things. I'm just trying to clean out what's left in the greenhouse and get everything planted. So we're going to start back here today. And first I need to go around. Actually, no, I think I changed my mind. First I'm going to transplant. Then I'll go around and heavily water everything in. I haven't watered any of my containers yet today, so I'll just do all that all at once. Why I've never thought about putting dahlias in the cottage garden. I think I've always so focused on using them as cut flowers for production that I don't think about how lovely they would look in the cottage garden. So I'm really excited to see, because these are there. I don't need to dig them up unless in a couple, 3 or 4 years, they get too big and their tubers are too swollen and, you know, clumped up, and then I can divide them. But yeah, it's just going to be nice. And the other thing is this bed in late summer, when the dahlias really start coming out, really suffers from not having enough color because, well, this year the salvia will be blooming, so that'll be good. But, you know, it gets so hot in this little strip for the limited number of hours we have of sun here. When we have over 100-degree days, it could be, you know, 115 degrees here in this little garden for like 3 or 4 hours. That just bakes the soil. Like, things just don't look as good in the summertime here. But the dahlias, as long as I keep this bed watered, will provide a lot of really pretty color. So I just wanted to share this with you. Everything is starting to, you know, really wake up, and you know, it's just lovely to see. So this is a buddleia. All of these salvias here started out as tiny plants in a container for the season, and then I transplanted them into the cottage garden when I was done. And that is a great way to add plants to your garden by buying perennials for your seasonal containers and then popping them in to a permanent place in your landscape. It's really nice. And then they'll slowly spread and fill in. But we've got the lupins coming up. Look here. So pretty. Now they're shorter stems than they usually are because the bunnies had fun back here and ate a lot of the greenery, but it's okay. And you can see the daffodils are starting to die back. I'm not worried about that. I'll come through and pull all that dead material out, you know, as time goes on, and it'll be totally fine. But we've just got a nice collection of things, right? The foxglove and these delphiniums, even though they're pretty much done, those California poppies are done, but even their leaves and everything add a nice touch. And this Dusty Miller, I'm really proud of this Dusty because I started these plants from seed. So all the Dusty Miller in this cottage garden bed were started from seed, and I hacked them back to nothing in the late winter, and they're just beautiful. So I love it so much. It's so pretty. And then we've got, you know, helichrysum and lamb's ear over here, and some more campanula that's starting here, which is great. Here's one that is blooming in full. Campanula, so pretty. You know, the iris is in here. This one's done, but they were so pretty. There's a few down here that are just starting, and verbena and stuff. And then I've got new dahlias in these empty spaces, as well as big marigolds. They're just seedlings right now, but they'll be really large plants with lots of huge marigold heads on them. So they're not like your tiny garden marigolds. So they'll fill in a lot of this area here. And these are all dahlias that I've planted in here as well. So I think it's going to look so nice. Now here's some more trimming. This is what Dusty ends up looking like after it's kind of spent. So I need to cut all that back, but you can see what happens once I cut it back. When it regrows, it just looks amazing. So yeah, the gorgeous irises here. I do have other irises that I just ordered from Shriners, and they won't be blooming for me this year, but I can't wait to stick them in the ground. So I will pop them in even more little open places. We've got some salvias in the back here that are still young. Nepeta, catmint. This is all germander, which is a wonderful herb, by the way. And then more foxgloves. So yeah, it's just, this garden is like wild and messy and crazy, and I love it for that. And then of course more dahlias and foxglove and lupins and stuff up here in this area, and columbines. Okay, so I'm gonna tackle those two containers, get that butterfly pea in there. It's not hot today, but it's warm, and I'm in direct sun, so I'm sweating. And I'm going to turn the sprinklers on for this area. So I went through with a hose just to kind of saturate those areas that I planted, and then we'll run the sprinklers, so this whole cottage garden used to be just grass. This was just a lawn. And, but it was constantly dying along the edge here, and I decided we should just pull out a bunch of that dead grass and put in, you know, a planting bed. And so that's what we did. But we did not ever change the irrigation to drip irrigation. It's still pop-up sprinklers. So of course the plants block a lot of that. And every year I'm like, oh, I need to change that. And every year I don't do it. So especially when it gets hotter and the soil is baking, I have to come in here and make sure I hand water the stuff in the very front, because it just doesn't get any water because the plants are blocking it all in the back. One day I will fix the problem and I won't have to worry about it anymore. But you know, that day is not today. Okay, I had a snack and I'm back out. I just did a bunch of work in the chicken coop, so I'm kind of out of breath. It's hot, but I'm gonna keep working. The most I'm gonna do for the rest of the day is sow all of these seeds that I went over with you at the beginning. After that, I'm gonna be done. It's really loud out there. There is a tree trimming crew right across the street. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, this is the time of year when fire suppression work is kicking in. And we have amazing crews all over here that pretty much work all year long to trim things away from power lines and all that kind of stuff. And so it's kind of just a constant thing for them. But they happen to be right across the street right now, so it's really loud. So I probably won't be doing any talking for you. I'll just show you where I'm going to be putting these, because I don't even think you'll hear me over that noise. Okay, friends, so you saw what I planted. The truck has moved on, so it's not as loud, although there's still a lot going on. It's the usual late spring, early summer day. So I've got the seeds planted. I am running the irrigation right now so everything can really soak in. And there's some things that I haven't gotten around to today that will just be part of tomorrow's jobs. The first one being to deal with the potato bed. I know I talked to the group that came here for a garden tour, but I don't know if I told you guys. So we got early blight. And early blight on your tomatoes starts out looking like that. And then it progresses to turning yellow. And basically what's happening is it will work its way down the stem and into the tuber. And you don't want that. So I cut back all of these. There's still tubers under here, potatoes. But I cut back all the greenery, so they're not going to continue to grow, but I'm kind of hoping that the skins will harden up just a little bit. So I'm going to give them a little bit more time, but not much. These are not suffering as bad. I don't really see big signs of blight on this variety here. And there's a little bit on this variety. So you'll trim back as you see blight appear, keep trimming back the infected leaves. Eventually you won't have anything left, and it's not really going to fix the problem. It's just buying you time. So blight, this kind of blight is a fungal infection, and it lives in the soil, but it's airborne. So potatoes are nightshades. So this fungal disease will infect any nightshade that comes into contact with it. So I'm hoping that the tomatoes that are nearby don't get it, because it is, like I said, wind spread. But importantly, I'm not going to be able to plant in this bed any nightshades for the next probably 3 years. And that's okay. I have other beds. But what I'm going to do, so I'm going to follow this up with a big bed. This whole bed, after the potatoes come out, is going to be beans. Soup beans, like drying beans. Anyway, what I'm going to do is use this mustard, this giant mustard here. There's one right there, and there's another one down there that's gone to seed. Chickens absolutely love flowers from brassicas, by the way, but I'm going to use those mustards, chop up the leaves real fine, and work them into the soil. And the mustards act as a fumigant, killing off a lot of the fungus that's in the soil. And this has been done for decades, if not centuries. It's a well-known thing. So I'm excited because I was about to take those mustards out anyway. Now they've got a really great use in the garden. And in fact, this garden doesn't grow things very well in the wintertime. And it's a function of the cold, because we do get dipped down into the 20 degrees Fahrenheit areas in the wintertime here, but also it's in the amount of sunlight. There's just not that much, not that many hours. However, these mustards were the only things this winter that just looked gorgeous all winter long through frost and everything. So I've just ordered a collection of different types of mustards, and because of their medicinal quality to the soil, I'm going to cover crop the whole garden in mustard this winter. I might still plant some brassicas and see how they do. Maybe they'll make it through, like cabbages and stuff, because they don't need as much light, but I am really going to focus on fumigating all the soil, and I'm excited about that. Plus, you can eat mustards. Okay, so I've noticed that the tomatoes here just aren't doing as well as the ones in the back. I'm going to give them a big dose of fertilizer tomorrow, fish emulsion and kelp, foliar feed. Hope that helps. And I'm going to I have a big bale of garden straw over here. Everything needs to get covered. So what I'm finding is, so the Oyas, I have Oyas, except for that one. I don't have any Oyas in that one. I hand water that one. But I have Oyas in all of them. It's keeping the soil down below fairly hydrated. And you can see, these potatoes are beautifully green, but these beds, this one and that potato bed back here, I put straw down around the potatoes. That's holding in the moisture, which is really helping. This area here that I did not put straw down around is drying out. I just watered it by hand. Is drying out. You can see that alyssum should be green and lush. And I think I need to, I think the Oyas are doing their job, but they can't compete with because our humidity here, our relative humidity is like 12%. So the air just sucks the moisture right out of the soil. So I'm going to cover everything in the garden with straw, a layer of straw, just to hold in the moisture. And because we're starting to head into warmer temperatures and it's going to get really hot, the straw will reflect the light and keep the soil cooler. It won't just get so baking hot. So I'm going to get more, because that one bale won't do it. But I have lots of places in the garden. All the beds need to get covered, and that will really help. Again, it'll hold the moisture in. I won't have to water as much, and the plants will be happier. So, okay, that's going to be it for the garden for me today. I'm going to get this video edited and put up for you guys. Then I need to shower and get started on moving furniture and boxing some things up, because our project is starting next week. And I need to block a top that I just finished the other day. And I believe, well, I can't remember who this pattern is from. I'll get the pattern and I'll link it below, but it was really fun. I just used a whole, it's a V-neck, but it needs to be blocked because I need to stretch it out and the hem is curling. So I need to get the right shape going. But it was a great project to use up lots of extra yarn. It was really fun. And you were able to do it while you're watching TV if you like to do that kind of thing. So if you're a knitter and you want a good project, I'll link this pattern below. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.